marketing resolution. And today I want to talk about something that, we've talked about before, and I talk about it fairly often with my clients, and that is the mental health of being a solo practitioner, mediator, or arbitrator, and how to create a work-life balance when, for the bulk of the last 2 years, we've been working from home by ourselves in an industry that is already fairly isolating, and now we're a little bit more isolated. So let's talk for a few minutes about some of the things that you can do to be a little bit more aware of how to take care of yourself and therefore your practice, etc. So let's talk today about creating a work-life balance for your mediation practice. All right. I think that when I talk to clients, creating this balance seems to be an insurmountable obstacle often, and it doesn't have to be that way. This is a topic of conversation that we have had more and more often. We should be getting better at it, I hope. And so the first thing that we want to do, of course, is define what a work-life balance is. And work-life balance, that's the amount of time that you spend doing your job compared with the amount of time that you spend with your family or doing hobbies that you enjoy, right? So mediators and arbitrators, let's face it, we are notorious for the long hours that we work and the demanding workload that we shoulder. And so I did a little informal survey just amongst my clients and wrote down their responses. And about 78% of them say that they frequently or always work outside of business hours. That's enormous. 32% of them said that those extended hours have taken a negative toll on their personal lives. And that's devastating. We don't want that to happen. So let's talk about how to not let that happen for you. And I can understand why those numbers are so big, because when we're not actually mediating or arbitrating, we're preparing for a case, we're researching, we are invoicing, we're taking out the trash, we're convening, and in the spare minutes of all of that work, we're marketing and promoting our practice. We're writing articles, we're speaking, we're networking, we're offering trainings, we're doing all different kinds of things. And it can be a lot. So the question, I guess, is whether or not mediators and arbitrators can have a work-life balance even. I mean, with all of those responsibilities. And the answer, of course, is yes. It's a choice that you have to make. So there's intent involved, but yes. And I'll say before we get started that having a work-life balance is, it's a process. It's not necessarily a goal that you set out for yourself. It's a process. And so it will, very much like your practice, evolve and change over time. So you need to be a little bit flexible, a little bit generous with yourself, but absolutely. My experience of doing really well at having a work-life balance, failing miserably at having a work-life balance, especially now during COVID and this worldwide pandemic, it fluctuates, it goes up and down. But for the most part, what I've learned for myself is that establishing this balance and, happiness for that matter, is a diet of the mind. It's something that I have to really think about and be disciplined about. So happiness is, I surround myself with happy music, not sad music. It's okay to be sad from time to time, but for the most part, I play happy music. The art that I have on my walls, this is happy art. The people that I surround myself with, they're generally happy people. Of course, everybody has a bad day from time to time, but generally speaking, I choose happiness and I surround myself with happiness, things that make me happy. And the same is true for a work-life balance. It takes discipline in the same way that a diet or an exercise plan takes discipline. So does having this work-life balance. So it does change, it does grow, just like your life and your practice changes. But the important thing is that you are intentional in finding this for yourself. Whatever that looks like for yourself, you have to really make an effort at it. And I'll say that, as difficult as it can be, and I'm not perfect at it, but consistency is really important. It's the accumulation of all the little things, all the little effects of the daily, tasks, the daily habits that we create. Those results in big differences. And ultimately, the only way a work-life balance is achieved for mediators is by making a non-negotiable commitment to yourself and understanding that no two definitions of work-life balance are going to be the same. And I think it's actually a little bit dangerous even to compare what your work-life balance is with mine or what your happiness is with mine. We don't want to do that. You need to design this to be best for you. So, for a lot of us, the global pandemic that we're facing has put a few additional constraints on how we might normally tackle this kind of challenge. But it also is creating so much opportunity for us to permanently improve the way that we live and work. And it's a chance, honestly, really, for us to think deeply and create a new way of living and working that promotes a well-being for us. And it can enhance, therefore, the services that we provide to our clients and parties. It can make us better neighbors, better spouses, better parents, better humans. So this is something we really want to take some time and think through. When we sit down to think about our personal and professional goals, this is very individualistic. So you need to ask yourself the questions that are pertinent to you. But I made a list of some of the questions that I've asked myself, and they're pretty basic. But when you sit and think about them for a minute, I think they are important. One of the first questions that you want to ask, or that I asked me, was, what is working in my life currently? What's making me happy? What am I really good at doing right now? And what can I continue making better, right? And then the next question, obviously, is what's not working for me? Is it that I'm working too many hours? I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm not getting enough exercise. I'm not eating. I'm not paying enough attention to my husband or my family, or walking the dog as often as she would like to be walked. My clients aren't feeling like they're getting enough attention. All of those kinds of things. What's not working? And that's a list that I really want to pay close attention to, because these are the things that I'd like to change, or take off the list, right? That's always an option. And then I wanted to describe for myself, what if I got question number 1 and question number 2 exactly right? What would that successful outcome look like? What would it feel like? And then we get to the action part, the fun part, and that is, how do I get there, right? What tasks are necessary to move me from these things are not working out and these things are working okay, but I want all of those things to be really working, really fine-tuned. So what steps can I take? And are these steps minute by minute? Are they daily? Are they weekly? Are they monthly? Is it an annual thing? Is it a quarterly thing? How do I strategize these steps? So you ask yourself the questions that fit you and your lifestyle and your goals, and what it is that you want to achieve. All right. Now, because we're in a global pandemic, which is, let's be honest, it's just weird outside sometimes. It's even weird here in my dining room sometimes, but it's just different. And we've done a really good job at pivoting our practices and our industry to best serve our clients and the parties and their needs. And sometimes we've forgotten to take best care of ourselves. And so let's, spend a moment and be grateful that for some of us, this pandemic has several silver linings. So maybe for some of us who live in large cities, we're working from home. There's no longer a long commute. So when I lived on the west side of LA, my commute was an hour and a half a day. It was expensive. It was frustrating. It was time consumptive. It was pretty much all things negative, right? So if you're one of those people and now you're working from home, well, you've just put, 2 or 3 hours back on the clock for yourself. And maybe you've been able to reallocate some of the gas money or the bus money or the parking garage money into doing something positive, taking a vacation or a staycation or paying down debt or investing in your practice or, whatever it might be. So there are several silver linings. I think also a silver lining is that we give credit where credit is due. We've done a really good job at learning new technology, adopting it, and applying technology. So good on us, right? So maybe you've used that time to read more books or spend more time with your family or have game night. Lots of different things have been good. And we need to acknowledge those and really embrace them. So there is some good news. And also, not only have we gotten better at technology and the use of it, but so have our clients and so have the parties. And that's a good thing also. I've been really impressed, honestly, with our industry. One of the things that we can do to really take advantage of this situation is by building a schedule that really works not just for our clients and the parties, but also for us. Because if we're not working at an optimal level, if we're not giving our clients the best, which they deserve, we need to make some changes. One of those changes can be building a schedule that works for you. So if you're not a Monday morning person, that's okay. Block off your calendar and don't have client interactions on Monday morning. Give yourself a minute to open your laptop, go through your emails, get things sorted, get things organized, and then move into your work week. Maybe it's that you and your family would appreciate having every weekend be a 3-day weekend. Block off Fridays. So you're not mediating or arbitrating on Fridays. And if you're not doing something with your family, then you can, open your computer and do some work, right? But you need to work out the schedule that is best for not only your clients, but for you, whatever that might be. A lot of our days are kind of beholden to or even held hostage by whatever's on our calendars. And that can be really anxiety inducing. I get it. So again, if you're not a morning person, then having a client consultation at 9 a.m., that's something that might require more energy than if that meeting were at 10 or 11 or after lunch. And the same is true in the afternoon. A lot of us, me included, frequently feel a little tired, a little drop in our energy level between 3 and 5, sort of that tea time, right? That's not the best time for me to be having a client interaction. I need to stop, take a break, walk the dog, have a cup of tea, get some energy back, and then move on with the rest of my day. I don't always have a choice about it, but I do my best. So whatever it is that you need to do, unlocking these secrets to the best time for you to drink your coffee, be on social media, do client-focused work, all of these things, whatever it is that can make a big difference in your daily productivity and your overall mood, your practice, your clients, everybody benefits. Everybody benefits. So think about how you want to organize your client interactions, your personal time, research, marketing, your hobbies, all of those things. And think about how you want to have your calendar availability filled. So we want to consider when we're doing this, maybe some alternative work schedules, maybe some alternative work styles. Maybe some of us have been busier during these last 2 years than we really intended to be. And now we're paying a price for it. The work we do is hard work. We've got a front row seat to some pretty heavy stuff. And we need to take into account our own mental health. So maybe you've ended up with a full-time practice when actually what might be better for you, your family, your health, your neighbors, etc., would be having a part-time practice. A lot of people balk when I say, cut back on the hours you spend actually mediating or arbitrating. But generally what happens is when those hours that you're working on your practice are limited, you become more productive. An example is the French work week. The French work week is about 39 hours, a lot shorter than an American work week, substantially shorter than a Chinese work week. And yet the French are consistently the most productive workforce. And that's because when they're at work, they've got all kinds of good energy, they're well rested, they have a nice work-life balance, and they can focus all of their energy and make those limited hours highly productive. So think about that a little bit. It might not always be a viable option, and you might be concerned that you'd earn less money. All things that need to be considered, but think about maybe altering things a little bit. Also, think a little bit about what it is that your clients need. If you're working with unrepresented clients, maybe they would appreciate you being available evenings, weekends, so that they don't have to lose a day of work or make alternative childcare arrangements, those kinds of things. So think about, how is your calendar designed? What's really best, right? You always want to, or I would suggest rather, that you consider, incorporating, I know it's not for everybody, but incorporating a daily habit of care for yourself. So for a lot of clients, myself included, this is a simple, short yoga time, right? I find it's very beneficial. So I have a few minutes in the morning and a few minutes in the evening. It's a nice way to start, nice way to finish. It's like, when you finish up your day, do you finish your day with news or a documentary about, serial killers? Or do you choose to finish your day with cat videos or babies laughing videos on YouTube? It's the choices we make that dictate our lives. So be careful how you start and how you stop. And for lots of us, yoga is an easy way to start and stop a day. One tip I can offer is that at the end of each week, try looking at the week ahead and intentionally insert some time blocks for a proper meal, for a walk, for a little bit of yoga. Whatever else recharges you during your workday, make sure that you've intentionally blocked out some of those times. And you really want to be sure that you're taking care of yourself and managing stress and anxiety. And I know that we always think, oh well, I'll get to that in a minute. Right now, I've got to do this thing for my client. I'll manage that later. But I think that is not always the healthiest choice, because if we're not healthy as individuals, we can't possibly do our best for our clients. We can't possibly be the best we could be as a spouse or a parent, etc. We've talked about this before. So you really want to stop, take a minute, and be able to manage your stress and anxiety. And it's not always easy. Sometimes we need to reach out to someone else, a therapist or a friend or a neighbor. If you don't have those people available, call me and we'll talk through the situation. It's rarely as dire as we think that it is with, in our own internal monologue. And talking to somebody else, lifts that burden, shares that load. So take time. Self-care, I know that it looks different for everyone. So you need to determine for yourself what it is. Is it that you need more sleep? If that's an option, excellent. Is it eating better, more nutritious foods? Fantastic, that's an easy fix. And again, maybe movement is essential, yoga or walking or whatever, bicycling, hiking, skiing, all of those things, good things, right? And then two, taking time away from work is not just, good for you, but it's absolutely necessary. And one of my go-to recommendations is that you travel. And if you're not able to travel, and I get that it's a pandemic, and for me, we had, hard closed borders for a really long time, travel wasn't really an option, but you can, think about what is in your neighborhood, what's in your city. If a tourist were coming to stay in your neighborhood, what would you show them? Go see that, go explore that. Go online and look at atlasobscura.com and see all the strange, fun things that are right in your neck of the woods. So you don't have to use a passport necessarily, but, get out, try something new. See your own city through the eyes of a tourist, try new places, new restaurants, taste new foods, learn a new language. Think about the different histories that are layered in your environment. These are all the good kinds of adventures. And for us as mediators and arbitrators, I always encourage this because it provides for us new perspectives. And that is a great thing for a mediator to have. So when your practice is running efficiently and you're able to take a vacation or a staycation and you don't have to worry about things falling apart, you can even go just for a long weekend, just take a Friday afternoon off or come back in, a little bit late on a Monday. This allows you to come back to work with a renewed focus and a renewed energy, which is fantastic. Let your clients know that you're going to be away from the office in advance, so that it reduces any chance of your vacation being interrupted or your weekend being interrupted. But take that time. It really is important. And then you want to be sure that you're, setting boundaries for yourself on the amount of time that you'll be working while you're away if you don't have a choice. Excuse me, so that you can receive the benefit of taking that time off. Because it's really, really easy, even though we're away, it's easy to, open our phone, read the email and respond, or open a laptop and respond. You really want to be generous with yourself and leave those things at the office, right? It's a really rare case that requires your immediate attention on a Saturday or a Sunday or while you're on a holiday, a planned holiday. So you can turn those things off, walk away. Another thing that I think is really important is our environment, where we're doing this work. And I know that, again, because a lot of us are working from home, some of us have highly organized offices, others are working from a dining room table. We don't have those kinds of choices. But wherever you are working, on a sofa, a dining room table, an office space, or you still go into workspaces, think about how your environment affects your mood. How does your environment reflect what it is that you need to do, how you can do it more effectively, more efficiently? So set up your workspace. What's the style? What are the physical needs? What do you need to be a little bit more comfortable and productive in your workspace? So maybe for you, you have an option of getting a standing desk or a desk converter to reduce the amount of time that you're sitting each day. I read a study from the Mayo Clinic, and they found that sitting for more than 8 hours a day had negative health effects similar to smoking or obesity. That's big. That's really, really big. So maybe you've got a space in your dining room where you can have a standing desk, or stand at the kitchen island with your laptop. Move, change it up, make it more comfortable, make it more efficient, more effective. But an organized, workspace, it really is critical to our well-being. Not only will you know where everything is, which is important, but you'll also experience a greater sense of self-satisfaction, because everything's organized. You can put your hand on whatever that file is, whatever that document is, you've got it, right? You're not always in a state of chaos. That's a lot. We had at the beginning of all this pandemic nonsense, Marie Kondo, and I don't know if you watched any of her videos, but it was about how to tidy up your space. And I think that one of the things that she taught us was that when you tidy up your space, you sort of reset your life, right? We can do that with our work as well. When you tidy up your workspace, when you make that environment what's best for you, then you reset your practice. That can be a really good thing. To do that, there are lots of different tips and tools that are available for us. I'm kind of a geek. I like technology. And one of the big culprits of an untidy workspace is paper. So if your ADR practice is set up to handle client files using paper, you might be spending a lot of time searching for information and getting things organized. You might think about digitizing your files. You can use an online ADR software like Mediation.com for hearings and client management. You can use online bookkeeping like QuickBooks Intuit, right, to sort of systemize things, make it easier. Everything's, online then. So instead of rifling through papers and invoices and trying to find the thing that you need at the moment, it's all organized. It's all right there. It's easy to use. Using technology to save time and automate some tedious tasks like having online calendaring, for me, has been incredible. I also use technology like my Apple Watch, my Amazon artificial intelligence tower, to keep my calendar on schedule, to set reminders, to stand up, move around, vary my activities. Don't forget this, don't forget that. Stop what you're doing, take a minute, look up from the screen, look out a window, go breathe some fresh air, those kinds of things. Really good use of technology. So, the ADR profession, I don't have to tell you, it can be stressful. It can be full of challenges. And all of those things increase our anxiety. And the prevalence of mental health and substance abuse issues are pretty well documented in the legal industry. There are lots and lots of studies that talk about how mindfulness and meditation can reduce our anxiety and rewire our brain's fight or flight responses. Therefore, that sort of allows us to feel more grounded in a stressful situation. That could be really important, not just for us, but again, to our clients and to the parties. And with regular practice, it might seem a bit strange at the beginning, but with regular practice, you gain the skills, to sort of cross-examine all of those negative thoughts, negative activities, negative actions, and think more positively, operate more positively, choose happiness, right? It's a diet of the mind. It's done with intention. And any high-performing mediator or arbitrator has moments when all the conversations and all the thoughts and all the figures and all of the cause and effect situations, they can be overwhelming, especially when there's the possibility of it involving a really negative result for a client or a party. We're human. There are lots of times where issues in our practice and home are happening simultaneously. No man is an island. We all have other people in our lives, and they have their own issues and their own stressors and their own anxieties. And like I said, it's still a little bit weird outside. So having a little bit of mindfulness can really help at this particular time globally. And we want to be able to diffuse high stress. We want to have that, sort of that break the glass in case of emergency moment, really, really occurring on a very rare basis. That shouldn't be our go-to on a daily basis. And it's a little things. Like I said, it's a choice. It's with intention. Choose happiness. And we also have to choose in doing the things that we really enjoy. One of the key elements to having a work-life balance is the life part of the balance. The work part, most of us are really quite good at. The life part can be the challenging end of things. So you don't want to just be taking care of business on your calendar or using your tech or all of these kinds of things. You really need to, like I said, include activities that recharge you, activities that give you joy. So make sure that you're looking at the full picture of your life when you sit down to think about these things. Take time, as much time as you need, to connect or reconnect with family and friends, participate in outdoor activities, binge watch a new show, put together virtual game nights with friends and family on Zoom, try new activities like painting, salsa dancing, cooking and baking, learn to crochet, learn another language, I don't know, work on your ability to grow houseplants. There's so many things that you can do, but find something that gives you joy. Little things, right, can give you a lot of joy. And all of these things are, I think, maybe a little bit easier for us because being a solo practitioner means that we have a lot of flexibility. There are benefits there are benefits, I think, that are proportional to the risk when we're a solo entrepreneur, right? So you have more control over the way you run your practice and how you manage your time. You can find more balance. If working for yourself, then you could if you were working for somebody else. But there is always that, that balance of risk and benefit. But I'll say that the global pandemic, if it's proved anything at all, it is that with the right processes, mediators and arbitrators can work from anywhere and still provide a really amazing service to clients. So kudos to all of us who've been able to do that. Sort of, I guess, in conclusion, in exploring whether or not a work-life balance is possible, gosh, we've covered everything from goal setting to practice efficiency. But I'm hoping that the common thread throughout this conversation is you. I need, and you need, for you to be an advocate for yourself. And your well being is the only way that you can achieve your vision of a balanced, well lived life. And if something isn't working, take steps to change it so that it does. And then if there's any other takeaway, I guess, that I can offer, it's that balance is a constantly evolving process. What might work for you today might not work next year. Life unfolds in ways that we can't always predict, right? COVID-19 is proof of that. So you want to make it a habit to check in with yourself and ask how you're feeling. How are you doing? Making small changes over time can give you more of what you want. And, being a work in progress does not make you imbalanced or defective in any way. Instead, it's a sign that you're willing to put in the work and optimize your life to meet your current circumstances with more joy. And if you've got a little bit left over after checking in on yourself, check in on somebody else. Make sure that other people, other colleagues who are at risk, know that they're supported, right? We're all part of a larger community. So balance, it's not achieved when you're working and playing in equal proportions. It's actualized when you're fulfilled in all aspects of your life on your own terms. And of course, if you're struggling with any of these ideas or situations or chaos or confusion about what to do or where to go or how to find support or how to support someone else, you reach out. Let's talk about it. I don't want you to feel isolated. I don't want you to feel alone. And for all of the people who've commented during this chat, thank you so much. David, Emily, Kim, Rosalia, thank you very much for watching. If you've got any questions, concerns, or ideas for upcoming Marketing Monday episodes, please be sure that you leave them in the comments section. Let me know what you'd like to hear from me next. But that's it. Enjoy your Monday. Be good humans.